Get me to the King's chambers.
King's chambers?
Yes.
Very well, if you say so.
That may be the key to the whole plan. Get it?
Got it.
Good.
Yes, I'll see Griswold's emissaries. But for the moment, there are other matters. I understand the wenches have arrived. Where are they? What have we here?
Sire, may I present the incomparable Giacomo?
King of jesters and jester of kings.
Oh, yes, from Italy. I haven't been there for years. Tell me, how go things at the Italian court?
Very well indeed, sire.
Splendid. What about all those stories we've heard? Wasn't it awful about the Duchess of Alba?
Oh, just awful, sire.
I ask you, how could a thing like that happen?
Well, sire, you know the Italian court. What better place to court Italians?
Italian court? Court Italians? Oh, Ravenhurst, the fellow has wit. Well, I must say, I was shocked to hear about the Duchess. What did the Duke do?
Pardon?
The Duke. What did the Duke do?
The Duke do?
Yes. And what about the Doge?
Oh, the Doge.
Yeah. Well, what did the Doge do?
The Doge do?
Yes, the Doge do.
Well, the Doge did what a Doge does. When the Doge does his duty to a Duke, that is.
What? What's that?
Oh, it's very simple, sire. When the Doge did his duty and the Duke didn't, that's when the Duchess did the dirt to the Duke with the Doge.
Who did what to what?
Oh, they all did, sire. There they were in the dark. The Duke with his dagger, the Doge with his dart, and the Duchess with her dirk.
Duchess with her dirk?
Yes. The Duchess dug at the Duke just when the Duke dove at the Doge. Now, the Duke ducked, the Doge dodged, and the Duchess didn't. So the Duke got the Duchess got the Doge, and the Doge got the Duke.
Curious. What? What's it? All I heard was that the Duchess had a siege of rheumatism. She's 83, you know.
Oh, come next summer, sire.
So's the Duke?
So's the Duke. Remarkable, those Italians, what?
Hey! La Brigida. Hey! Oh, good. Get it? Got it. Good. Hello. Welcome to Friday Facebook as usual. Hey, I think I've only missed 2 since 2019. Last week was for Gina Lola Brigida, Bella Principessa. We say your name and you get 7. So I did all that, and today I have a bad case of polyrhythmia. Oh, terrible affliction, I tell you. Especially when I've been going down the yash, money, penny, lashish, more. Oi! So let me talk about polyrhythms tonight. Hey, I haven't talked about them in ages. I sort of move around a little bit with them, but I thought I'd sort of go down that track a little bit tonight. There you go. So what happens is I am going to go down the idea playing 2 rhythms or even more at the same time. This little clip is banging on my arm here. Oh, it's a bit scratchy, itchy, scratchy. So what happens is I'm going to talk about polyrhythmia. What happens is a polyrhythm is any 2 rhythms sandwiched together. There you go. And what happens is you take the 2 numbers, and the most common polyrhythm in the world is the 3 against 2 polyrhythm, but I'm going to start with that and then go and all that. So what happens is that when you have a 3 against 2, the easiest way to work out a polyrhythm is take the 2 numbers, 3 against 2, multiply them together, you'll get 6, and the 3 is played every 2. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then if you play the 2, it's every 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hail Caesar! Oh, I even got the jingle jangle. And then when you put them together, you can actually say things. If you can say it, you can play it. Like Gina Lola Brigida. I think I've even got it here. Hang on a second. Gina Lola Brigida. There you go. So what happens is you get this nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea. There you go. That's what happens there. And what happens then is that you take the, you can work your 3. Put the 2. And then you work it, you see. Now, in many cases, what I start to talk about with things like this, oh, poor mallet, I think, these are beautiful mallets, but I think they're on the last couple of face chooks, I think. Bit of fluff. I've done that joke already. But what happens is you get you actually get the 3 against 2 and then build off it, you see. So what happens is if you're, you can use a single tap, double tap, and then when you put it together, one of the things I like to do sometimes when we're getting around the drums a little bit is if I'm going to play a 3 against 2, why not I put the 2, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, around 3 drums. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then I take the 3 and I might have 1, 2, 1, 2 there, but 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you get your 3 against 2 polyrhythm. There's the, on the right. Oh, mind bender. And there you go, you sort of work it up, put your feet. And then you can work that up, see? So what starts to happen is that when you're getting your polyrhythms, one of the things that can happen with it is that you can also put a polymeter inside the polyrhythm, because I've got 3 against 2, and then what happens is if I'm going to just do the 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then imply 3 with the tom-toms, it's a polymeter, which is different from a polyrhythm, because a polyrhythm is two rhythms played at the same time, right? 3 beats against 2 beats, you see, and you come out on 1. The resolution point, you see. But a polymeter is 2 time signatures, 2 different time signatures played at the same time. They both come under the umbrella of polyrhythmic playing, but there is a bit of a difference when you're actually doing that. Of course, one of the great exponents of all of this is Danny Carey from Tool, who I've mentioned. I mentioned him just last week because of the 7, the aforementioned Gino Lollobrigida with the Bella Principessa, you see, because so much of their stuff is odd times and polyrhythmic playing in an odd time signature. You see, that's what goes on. So that's what happens there. Now, when you're actually doing things like this, I mentioned the resolution point. Now, this is where we can start to talk about just good old snare technique, like the whip stroke, whipping. So you see, there's 3. Now, I use traditional grip, so when we start doing things like this, one of the things that happens is that, of course, you've got wrist control. I might take the old triggers out for a second while I'm explaining this. So you've got the you've got that going, and as you can see, the wrists are doing most of the work. Now, what happens is you can also have finger control, things like that. When you're doing the whip, coming down with the wrist, and then you're using your, the bounce of the stick to get whatever you need, whether it's 3 or 4 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then with the left hand, if you're doing finger control, well, I call it thumb control, you see, and that's it. What have I got here?
Thumbelina, Thumbelina, tiny little thing. Thumbelina dance, Thumbelina sing. Oh, Thumbelina, what's the difference if you're very small? When your heart is full of love, you're 9 feet tall. Thumbelina, Thumbelina, tiny little thing. Thumbelina dance, Thumbelina sing. Oh, Thumbelina, what's the difference if you're very small? When your heart is full of love, you're 9 feet tall.
there it is there. I should have put the little smiley face on it like I did once before. Oh, Thumbelina, thumb. And what I was doing there is, did you notice? I'll do it again. Look, I'll show you. Thumbelina, Thumbelina. There's the beat.
Thumbelina dance, Thumbelina sing. Oh, Thumbelina, what's the difference if you're very small? When your heart is full of love, you're 9 feet tall. Thumbelina, Thumbelina, tiny little thing.
There's a polyrhythm.
Thumbelina dance, Thumbelina sing. Oh, Thumbelina, what's the difference if you're very small? When your heart is full of love, you're 9 feet tall.
I keep pressing just that little early so he doesn't get tall. There you go. Thumbelina! Doing a 3. Now, what starts to happen with that is that when you're actually doing business like this, what goes on is that your vipping can help you with your polyrhythm because you have the resolution point, you see. So what starts to go on is that if I start doing the vip, you see, if I'm going to go vip, 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 the vip, the vip, like that. There you go, sorry. Clowning around. There you go. Once upon a time, to put that as a trigger, back in the 80s, Frank Zappa paid something like $250,000 for a synclavier. We used to call it the synclavier. Synclavier, mate. And $250,000 to do blah. There you go, that was one of his favourite sounds. Blah, like that. But back to the vip. So if we're doing, there's that. Now, what can start to happen? I could do 3 with the right. And because I'm using the vip, 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 I've got a vipping on 3 with the right hand. And then Thumbelina on the left. So I could do a blues beat. Boom. 3 with the right, 4 with the left. Ah. Boy! And there you go. So that's what goes on with Thumbelina. Oh, I'll do it again.
Thumbelina, Thumbelina, tiny little thing. Thumbelina dance.
3 with the left now.
Thumbelina sing. Oh, Thumbelina, what's the difference if you're very small? When your heart is full of love, you're 9 feet tall.
Hey!
Thumbelina,
Thumbelina, tiny little thing. Hey! Dum-da-dee-da-da. And that's what you get, you see. So you get a 4 against 3 polyrhythm. Now, when you want to do it, one of the funny things when I talk about polyrhythms is the fact that there's the common denominator method where you're multiplying the numbers together, you get your common number, you know, and then play the numbers off each other, you see, and all that. But there comes a point where your tongue will fall out of your head when you're trying to do it, you see. When you're doing 4 against 3, and like I said, nice cup of tea for 3 against 2, but if you're doing 4 against 3, it's see the big fat piggy. See the big fat piggy, 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 see the... And if you're going to try and do it in that manner, which is the correct manner, what you have is really a limit for your speed. You see, there comes a point where, oh, I can't go any faster. You know, blah, 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 blah. You know, you'd make a good auctioneer.
All right, who go 80,000, 80,000, 80, now 80, how about 50, now 5, I'm bid 55, 55, now 60,000, I'm bid 60, 65, here now 5, now 70, now 5, I'm bid 75, 75, sold $70,000 your way. All right, now we're going to sell the woman's.
But what happens is that with the idea of the resolution point, you're actually, because you're actually thinking just one movement like that, but then the bounce and the vipping will give you 2, 3 or 4, whatever. You're only thinking about one thing, the downstroke. And then you have down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down. Get under the threshold. Oh! Polymeter, I was trying to do a 5 there. Hui! And there you go. And there you have that. Now, what happens is when we're talking about these kinds of things, there's a couple of things with the VIP that you want to try and get going. Now, one of the things that you do want to try and do is not just stick to your standard, 1, 2s, 3s, and 4s. Try and get a 5 in. Okay, so you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you get... See? Right, left, right, left. So when it goes, you see, and then when you get that, you can start putting other things with the resolution point. Now, if I'd say I did 3, like do the bottom 3, like, and so I did that. Can you see down there? I'm straddling the 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's 5 against 3 right there. There. If I wanted to go right, left, which I did last week, I could have just this. There you go, you see. Now, when you're talking about some of these polyrhythms, there's always going to be yash, money, penny, lashish, more or less. And what happens is sometimes polyrhythmic playing is in plain sight. You see, sometimes you might be playing something like a good old 12 bar, and all of a sudden, depending on the time signature you are in. If you are, say, playing 12 bar blues and in triplets, like 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. I woke up this morning and they go 1. And I'll slow it down a bit so I can show you. So you've got 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. That, my friends, is a non-uplet. There you go. So what happens is you're tripleting the triplet, you see. And so 3 times 3 is 9. So you're playing 9 in the space of a beat, 9 notes in one beat. But all I'm doing is a 12 bar. And it's just like da 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 da. I've been days confused so long it's not true. One a woman never bargained for you. Lots of people talking, few of them know. All of a woman is not up, let's go. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, I'm singing. Bam, bam, bam. Oh. There you go. Dazed, just dazed and butchered and confused. There you go. So that's what goes on, you see, and that's what happens.
You get it? Got it. Good.
Yeah, I hope you understand. Thumbelina, Thumbelina, tiny little thing. Thumbelina dance, Thumbelina sing. Oh, it's silly tonight. There you go. Oh, well. So sometimes they're in plain sight. One of the plainest of plain sight polyrhythms is the Liverpool Jangle with the good old Beatles, you see. Because what would happen is you would hear, say, John or George playing straight on their guitars, 1 and 2 and 3, although 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And Ringo, you're looking at Ringo, and he's playing a tight shuffle, you see. So you might be getting... 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You see, you get that kind of a thing. And it's a bit jangly. You know, you get lots of little of the early stuff, especially, the early days. You know, when you're seeing them on the Ed Sullivan Show and stuff like that, you're watching Ringo getting... And I'm going, isn't that a straight beat? Oh, no, there it is. He's playing a tight shuffle, you see. So it's a kind of a 3 against 2 kind of feeling. And that's what happens where it comes from, say, some of the out there African rhythms, you know, that kind of thing. It gets quite polyrhythmic in its nature. And sometimes the explanation of these African rhythms, which are so complex and really comes from a fairly straight kind of place, in the sense that you might have some of the ceremonies that they have in African villages and stuff, where the men might be dancing a coming of age kind of dance, you know, that kind of thing, you know, where the young men of the village are old enough to go out to hunt, and this kind of long tradition. So they're doing the big ritual ceremony, you know, akin to, say, a confirmation or something like that in our kind of society. You see, it depends. And then at the same time, the women are dancing and doing things like that. So you have very complex rhythms coming up, because the men's dance might be in 4 beats. Okay, in Western style, we'd call it in 4/4, common time, but it might just be a beat that's in, you know, having four beats in it. But the women's rhythm might be in 3, or could even be in 5, and all of a sudden you've got this polymetric, rhythmic kind of thing happening. Now, what starts to happen with that is that you can layer it, because if you're, say, doing Gina Lolla Baby, the Gina Lolla Baby, the Gina Lolla Baby, fives, quintuplets overlaying the 7. See? That kind of stuff there. There you go. What I do with the triggers, what's these ones? European folk kit. So you can do different things. I've got the other bass drum down here, fairly down low and a bit ringy. There it is. And I'll go back to mallets. They're on their last legs, these poor fellas. Look, his pants are falling off. Oh, my Lord. There you go. I'll give it a crack. All right. Okay. Time to visit a drum shop. So, what happens is, I'm going to keep this on time tonight. What I'm doing is resolution points, all sorts of things. What have I done? One of the things about polyrhythms in plain sight, I might even call it that, this show. But what goes on? When we talk about things like, well, I've just explained some of the Beatles rhythms, you know, that kind of thing. So it can't be, you know, it's not this obscure prog rock kind of stuff. It's the Beatles, you know, Liverpool Jangle. That's how they got the sound. It was like, that's what. There's always something, you know, like, what makes me love this? You know, why do I love this band so much? And then you might find that there's a quirky little something that they do that's different from everybody else. And that's what sets them apart. That certainly set the Beatles apart. And, you know, from all their peers at the time, you know, not that their peers were bad or anything like that. It's just that one of the things about the Beatles themselves was their time in Hamburg. They literally played all the time. And you just get good. You practice, there you go. Even if it was a strip club. Anyway, no wonder they had a bit of a jangle. Anyhow. And, anyway, and then what happens is that you've got your non-uplets in a blues beat where all you're doing is a fill-in when you're thinking in triplets. You see? That's what it goes on. You're tripletizing the triplet. You get 9 in a beat. Okay, there you go. And if you're playing it like that, it would be considered kind of like a 9 against 2. You see, so you get your typical 3 against 2, which is known in classical music and in flamenco as the hemiola from Española, where it's the 3 against 2. The feeling of playing 3/4 against 6/8, you see, because what happens is both time signatures have or can have 6 quavers in them. There you go. One is in 3/4 is 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 6/8 is 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6. So you go.
You get it? Got it. Good.
And what happens is you've got that.
Thumbelina, Thumbelina, tiny little thing. Thumbelina dance, Thumbelina sing. Oh, Thumbelina, what's the difference if you're very strong? When your heart is full of love, you're 9 feet tall.
Thumbelina, Thumbelina. There you go. You see, that's what goes on. And I will wrap the show up. Hemiola from Española. Non-uplets in a blues beat. I've done See the Big Fat Piggy. The Liverpool Jangle. I've done it all. Resolution points. Polyrhythms in plain sight, I tells you. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you liked the show. My name is Chris Quinlan. Every lame joke under the sun. There you go, I'm off, there we go. So what happens is that even with phrases, last week, La Bella Principessa, Gina Lollobrigida, and...
You get it? Got it. Good. You
Get it, got it, good.
You get it? Got it.
7 against 3, Lollobrigida. My name is Chris Quinlan. I'll have this up tomorrow. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Hey, I'm out.
Summerside.
So's the Duke.
So's the Duke. Remarkable, those Italians, what?
Thumbelina dance, Thumbelina sing. Thumbelina, what's the difference if you're very small? When your heart is full of love, you're 9